Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti, along with Ashley Mayu. We've had some rain over the last couple of days. A muddy track off the turf. Sounds like we're getting a little bit of rain right now, Ashley.
I think you just jinxed us. It wasn't raining. You started talking about it, and now I can hear it hitting the top of the tent here.
You know, before we get started, we want to really send our thoughts and prayers to everybody down in Surfside. It's just a terrible situation.
It's like devastating and heartbreaking is the only way to say it. And it's a local community just a couple miles that way. So sending our thoughts and prayers with everyone there.
And as we said, a little bit of rain coming down right now, but we're starting today with a muddy track. I'm sure it's sealed. We're off the turf, of course, this afternoon. And, you know, our first race is 5 furlongs. Was originally scheduled for the main track. And it's a great time of year when you get all these 2-year-old fillies, Ashley. And I know that you have a ticket you want to show, Early Pick 5.
Yeah, Early Pick 5. I think I stuck with my original number. I had to kind of change my ticket a bit just because we are off the turf today. But in this opener, I'm going to use 3 horses in here. I'm going to use 2 first-time starters, one of which is the number 8, Hard to Capture, 7-2 morning line. Mark Casse, we don't need to talk about that anymore. I said Mark Casse and 2-year-olds. That's about what you need to know there. Race 2, I used 2 horses. The main track only runner, the number 4, Well Defined, draws in. I think he's going to be huge here. He's a 5-time winner locally with some huge buyer speed figures, but I still use the number 5, Vow Me Now, with 2 back-to-back consistent races. The big question will be the dirt today. Race 3, I used 2 runners as well. I used the number 2, She Nasty, and the 3, Song of the Heart, both first-time starters. The 2's for Jorge Delgado. The other one's a Peter Miller runner. Race 4, I used the number 1, Chickapoo Princess for Mark Casse, as well as the number 7, Jazzy T, who was my top pick originally. And then I had to use the number 13, Manuela, who draws in. And then to wrap things up, I just went too deep in the last one. I think the favorite there is going to be the number 4, Karen's Cove. But I threw in the number 6, Gemmo, 5-1 morning line. I think this horse is intriguing, but we'll have to kind of handle a wet going today.
$36 is the ticket, and let's get right into this first race. And as you mentioned, the 5 Hard to Capture, a $95,000 daughter of Uncaptured, debuting for Mark. We've sung his praises with his 2-year-olds, but an interesting stat, working well up at Palmettos, but the jock-trainer combo of Edwin Gonzalez and Cassie, they're winning races at a 55% clip, so add that in, and Edwin Gonzalez is the leading rider for 2-year-olds at the meet. He's got, I think, 5 or 6 wins, more than anybody else.
Sounds like a recipe for success. If you ask me. I think when you look at her workouts too, she's got some great workouts. I like the 2 in June so far. 47 flat breezing from the gate, that was on June 5th, and more recently 47 and 4 also out of the gate at Palm Meadows. It just the works, I think, kind of looking at the other horses, she seems a little bit quicker.
You know, I wrote for the number 3, Pressa de Argento is stepping up to maiden special weight company. I'm sort of believing that this is a lateral move. You chase the pace, finish a useful second in a $50,000 debut at the distance. I think our previous experience, we've seen a lot of these 2-year-olds run, and the horses that had experience have come back and won their next start. So it's always something that you have to look at, and I think it's a lateral move.
I think the performance last time out was pretty good. I mean, chasing, you're kind of always at a disadvantage with these 2-year-olds going 5 furlongs, not really enough time to make up any ground that short, but the winner was just kind of much the best. Since then has a nice workout and just the race day experience. I think you said it, when you look at the field, only 2 horses have a race under their belt.
And for Senora, we got the same super up there as the daughter of Classic Empire, debuting for Tim Ham, a series of strong half-mile gate works, including that Bullet, 2 starts back, so horse is well prepped for this performance.
Well prepped, another one with good workouts. I mean, it's 1 of 2 for Tim Ham. He also sends out the number 9, Mirth and Merriment, who I just didn't show too much in the debut. Edwin Gonzalez going in a different direction, obviously, with Cassie today, but Signora, I think the works are okay. Had a Bullet back in late May.
Let's go to race number 2, and this is the first of a couple of races today that were taken off the turf. It reverts to a 1-turn mile on the muddy main track, and these are starter allowance runners, 4-year-olds and up, and started for $16,000 or less. Entered for the main track was the number 4, Well Defined. This one stretches out to the mile, got the speed, got the jockey, got the trainer that I think could be very dangerous in the spot.
7-time winner from 22 career starts. 5 have been locally here at Gulfstream Park. I mean, the record's just phenomenal. 10 for 14 in the money. Interestingly enough, though, only 1 start over wet going. Didn't hit the board at all, but you mentioned it. Has speed, has success recently here. I think the last 3 races have been really huge from him, so I think he should be fine over it.
I was sure, I would have bet anything that the number 5, Vow Me Now, was going to come out of this race this afternoon, returning to the optional claiming ranks after stalking around, finished second behind a horse we really like, Chuck Willis. That was that overnight handicap on the turf. Edwin Gonzalez, Freddie Plesa Jr. It looks like this horse, I respect Eddie a lot. He thinks this horse can run on this kind of surface today.
I'm a little shocked too. Another one that's, it hasn't tested the wet, but it's tested the dirt on a fast track and is 0 for 3, has never hit the board, has made $1,672. So really hasn't fared well, but obviously the recent performance have been good, but the surf is going to be a big question. You look at the workouts in the morning, they're fine. I mean, the most recent one breezing 48-2, but I think this is going to be interesting to see how he fares today.
Well, the number 7 Croy is going to change barns, go to the Jose Garofalo barn after the claim, followed the third place finish by the horse we were just talking about with a front-running score. Now, these were on the turf, but this is a hard-knocking 7-year-old who's been 5 for 5 in the money this year, and he runs well on both turf and dirt.
He does. Now, you look at his most recent dirt performance, he didn't fare well. He finished 5th, but when you look at him overall, he's got a win over the wet going. He's got 3 wins on the dirt overall, and he's had some big numbers there. And you mentioned he's another consistent horse. You can see he's a hot commodity. He's been claimed several times this year, so he's certainly classy, but I think he's one, at least we know he's proven on the surface.
And Miguel Vasquez is going to ride because MSCL will be on the floor well-defined this afternoon. Race number 3 this afternoon, another 2-year-old race. These are 5.5 furlongs, maiden claiming fillies, 2-year-olds. $25,000. It seems like it's the rain is getting a little noisy here, doesn't it? Well, we're finally different in one race here. You went with the number 3 horse in here, and that is A Song of the Heart, the Calbred daughter of a Dynamic Impact.
I'll be honest, so far Peter Miller's sent those 2 horses out. One was a Calbred. They might have both been. Not sure what to do with them. Really it's an interesting move. The works weren't that super sharp for this one, but I think when you look at this level, it's $25,000 meeting claimers. I thought it was intriguing to see Edgar Zayas currently leading in the rider standings, climbing aboard this one. So I was torn here between the first-time starters, but I went with this one on top.
Yeah, solid. Peter Miller really good with his 2-year-olds. Now, most of that, of course, is out in California, but he's started a bunch of horses here. That is Ocala. He's given him a race here before he ships him out to the West Coast. I did go with She Nasty. He's the daughter of Keen Ice, debuting for Jorge Delgado, who has a 24% win average with his freshman runners. Chantal is having a really nice meet, just playing the percentages here with She Nasty.
They're doing really well together. They're winning 27% here at Gulfstream Park from a sample size of 15. So Chantal and Jorge are a combination you have to watch. Jorge, when you look at his first-time starters, 10%, but this was another one that I had to use. I know the most recent 2 works, they weren't the sharpest, but on June 5th, I think we saw something in the morning over a good going, 48-3.
Yeah, and that's good that it was over good going. And, of course, that's what we're dealing with this afternoon. The number 7, Straight to Go. She's got her claiming tag carved in half today. She tracked the pace. She finished. It was 3rd, but it was a distant 3rd in her debut for Angel Rodriguez, Mario Fuentes. Stretch out to 5.5. I thought this horse can run well. Got that previous experience.
I'll be honest. I had her higher on my ticket. Then I started thinking about this because that race to me, you can go one of 2 ways. You can say Arrow, Shape, and Spirit Win were probably the horses on paper. They were kind of better than the rest of the field. Now she's in for $25,000. You're cutting the claiming price in half. I wasn't sure. I think she's still one to use. Going to get, again, today, actually I shouldn't say again, but going to get a weight break as well. Going to stretch out from that 4.5 to 5.5. I still think she's one to consider in here just with that race day experience.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see how these young horses handle the off-going this afternoon. So we'll see how that plays out. With that said, we'll take a short break. Come back, show you my Rainbow 6 ticket. We'll get a really nice big jackpot guaranteed today.
In the 2 path. Round off first inside. Race. And a 1/4 mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back, Gulfstream today. Ron and Ashley. We're dealing with some rain right now. We got a muddy track. We're off the turf this afternoon, but that doesn't deter the fact that we got a big jackpot guarantee in the Rainbow 6, and I got a $48.60 ticket this afternoon, which we'll show you right away. And I did go 3 deep in here with the Chickaboo Princess, Jazzy T, and the 13 Manuelo, who's getting a big drop, but a lot of guesswork. That one was off the turf. I like Benefactor and Karen's Cove and also Gemmo, who you used on your ticket in race number 5. My single is Piper. I'm just going with Carlos David. He's a whopping 38% with new claims because I needed a lot of coverage in the races, especially the ones that have been taken off the turf. And I got some interest in race number 8 in the one horse Everyone Loves Jack for Jennifer Young. See what kind of price we get this afternoon. Here I thought the Jazzy T. Did you have that one on top or Chickaboo Princess?
I have Jazzy T on top.
Well, we'll start with Jazzy T. This one who tried a mile on the dirt track, the pace finished third. Going 7.5 on the turf for Rohan Crichton.
Just thought having early foot would obviously be to the advantage here today, just with the conditions on the racetrack. You see those last couple starts. It's always been forwardly placed, was actually on the lead in the debut, but most recently was the best finished third, beaten by a length, was just tracking the pace early on. I think in this surface, too, just with these maidens, I don't want to be too far back on the off-going.
Well, I want to show you the one horse's start last time out, Chickaboo Princess. I know this is on the turf, but it didn't matter because you never get to run anywhere. Whether the surface was, you're going to see the number 1 just come out, and actually brush against the rail. And the race was over. That was its debut on the turf for Mark Cassie. So I wanted to show that start. I think you put a line through that race and use this one as a first-time starter on this off track today.
This is a great replay because you see duck in and you go, what does that really mean? I mean, obviously, if you watch the races, you know what duck in means, but that horse lost total momentum. The neck was bent and kind of cocked one way, and it really just kind of impeded any chance that she had. Love seeing blinkers on after that. I mean, she did have a tough post. Now she's going to have a tough post again, so I think the blinker should help her focus, and maybe that won't happen again.
Yeah, the number 13 horse, Manuela, has a claiming tag sliced in half. She returns to the dirt. She's always faced better on the main track. You got to go back a while, but they were better than she's going to face today, so they're dropping this horse where she belongs. Now we'll see how she can handle the wet track today, and that is the number 13.
When you look at her on-the-board finishes, yes, they've both been over the turf. She's kind of been just a couple lengths off the pace setters, but you mentioned it. She's been on the dirt against tougher competition. One of the races, was an 11-horse race. She finished 4th. It was just the winner was kind of much the best in that spot, so you see an 11.5 length defeat margin for this runner. But I also looked at the works here. I mean, this horse wasn't also eligible, not a main track only, still opts in for here, and has some good dirt workouts. So
yeah, I think that horse would have been favored on if it got in on the turf course today. But that's that's a story for another day. Let's go to race number 5, 5.5 furlongs. These are claimers 3 and up, $6,250. You did go with the number 6 horse Gemmo on top of your ticket. You can get a price, but I went with Benefactor, who drops to the 62 level. We're going to show you this horse's last race as she, this one turns for home. Just really, you'll see that day the number 3 just really has nowhere to go. You just see gets shut off here, and the stretch, then tries to go to the inside, gets sort of like bamboozled again in there, just never has a clear path to run. So I thought, traffic filled, was the favorite. It was that dated claimer. Edgar Zayas rides for Safi Joseph Jr.
Yeah, kind of looking at the last 2 trips, has had some issues, and now just second off the claim. Obviously, room for improvement. They claimed this one for $8,000, was against 12.5 last time out. Now in for $6,250. A big player in here. I use this horse for third, but 2-to-1 morning line and just kind of see everything here. I mean, there's a big chance for this horse to win today.
Yeah, big chance, and the barn has just been going so well. But tell us about the number 6 Gemmo. I use a little further down on my ticket.
Had a little bit of a break between April and June. Came back here on June 11th, going 7 furlongs. Finished 4th, kind of even in the end of it. I mean, was beaten by 4.5. Really didn't show too much in my opinion. But I like the weight break today. I think second off the layoff. I know it's not an angle. Don't look at the 0 for 13 at the bottom. It's maybe not an angle from what we've seen so far. But I definitely think he needed a race off the layoff. If you go 2 starts back, it was at 6 furlongs, so comparable to today's distance at this level. Was able to draw clear after setting off the pace. So I thought this one could get a really nice trip set up in here.
Another horse that's getting, I think, some needed class relief after losing his best chance. He broke slowly from the rail against those 12.5 claimers. That's the 4 Karen's Cove, Rowan Crichton. His barn has really been heating up. Jose Morelos handling the combo, drop down and turn back.
If you go 2 starts ago at the 7 furlong distance, it was sensational. For this one, it was a career best buyer on the year. It was a 73, drew clear by almost 6 lengths, just went to the front and said goodbye. But obviously last time out, disappointed as the favorite. So you mentioned maybe it's the class relief that helps him return to form.
Let's go to race number 6 this afternoon. It's 5.5 furlongs. These are maiden claiming fillies, 3-year-olds, $16,000. And this is where our late pick 4 starts, and you have a ticket you want to show the folks.
I do. This is another ticket that kind of got affected. It ended up being a more affordable ticket. Went down from my normal $27 to $18. I used 3 horses here in the $16,000 maiden claiming event. Used the number 3, Awesome View, the 4, Sky Interest, as well as the number 6 in here, who I know you like, Piper. That was your single. Race 7, I just used 2 horses. I used the number 1, Holy Meister, as well as the number 8, Malibu Mandate, who draws in, was a main track only runner, 4 for 5 in the money locally here at Gulfstream Park over the main track. Race 8, I went 3 deep in here. I didn't have too strong of opinion. Use the 5, 6, and the 7. Kind of looking at those, I think Terry Pompey's runner is going to take a bunch of play and respect in there, a 5-time winner locally. And then to wrap things up, I know this is where we differed in our tickets as well. I used the number 5, R10 Angel, as my top pick. Has some early foot, which maybe can help her today over the main track, as well as the number 7, Hardly Social.
Yeah, that's a tough race to handicap, of course, taken off the grass this afternoon. Getting into the 6th race, I hope you can hear us now. We have a bit of a deluge coming down right now, so we'll see how things play out. And we'll start it off with the horse I did single, and that is Piper, who moves to the Carlos David barn. After the claim, turns back to 5.5 furlongs after setting the pace and trying to finish second. It was about the barn first off the claim, 38%.
Really strong numbers. I mean, the barn, we always talk about the numbers for the barn. They're always really strong. Now, I think last time out finished second, tired a little bit, and kind of got a little leg weary in the stretch at the 12-5 level, but the winner, Fiery Princess, came back to win next time out while facing winners for the first time out. So love seeing that from this horse, and this is a horse I used for second, but could easily win this one as well.
Well, Awesome View is the one that you do use, and let's go back and show you this horse's performance. First, we're going to show you to start with Awesome View, and you know, breaks last in this race. You should do number 9 this day, and you're just going to see, there you see the number 9, you know, and then if you follow it a little bit, sort of rushes up into the field there, and then we're going to switch it up to the top of the lane. So this horse wanted to get interested early after that, you know, the sort of tardy start, and then we'll just show you. And the horse closes and, you know, and it tries to win it and finish second, but you'll see it here, just doesn't have anything left. And I think the start, and more than the start, Birkin last, was rushing up. She was used, and she ran okay, you know, behind Pretzel that afternoon, who was 9-2 on the board. This one was the 2-1 favorite, but has a legitimate excuse.
When you see Turning from Home, Pretzel's on the lead, kind of moving comfortably, and you mentioned it. I mean, when you look at Awesome View, you're always at a disadvantage in some sense when you got a horse on the lead kind of by themselves, and you're trying to chase, and you have to chase throughout. I mean, that was the case from Awesome View. Never really got a break, had to try to make up that ground from that lackluster start. I think now second off the layoff and second for Ralph Nix since returning to the barn. I think that's key. So that's what actually gave me the edge of using Awesome View on top over Piper.
And you used the number 4 horse in the race too, and that is Sky Internet.
Was third last time out. Sky Interest was right behind Piper, by just beating him by a length and a half for kind of that second place finish. I thought it was a respectable debut. Maiden second time out now. I mean, the barn is still looking to kind of get off the duck here. They're 5 for 9 in the money. I just thought this was a logical horse to use underneath.
It's raining in here.
It is. I'm getting a little bit of a shower.
We're going to go quickly through the rest of the card here. 1 mile. This one was originally scheduled for the main track to be running on the turf to be running a mile. And the Holy Meister is where we both went in here for Bobby DeBona. Pretty suspicious drop in competition.
Interesting. I mean, this was only on April 8th, was playing for $35,000 out of that maiden claiming event. Ended up winning the race by 2 lengths, was favored, so kind of performed as we expected. But now in for 12.5. Now, mentioned this is going to be first off the claim. We do have a trainer stat here for Bobby DeBona, kind of looking at this angle for the barn more specifically. Over the last 2 years, first off the claim, wins at 24%, so 12 for 49. In the money, though, 49% of the time with $1.84. ROI. So, I mean, the numbers suggest this horse is a big player. If the performances weren't enough from him, I mean, he's a 5-year-old. He's only missed the board once in his career. He had a 4th place finish 3 starts back. But this is a huge drop in class, and now going to be on the dirt.
Yeah, Malibu Mandate moves to the Jesus Lander barn after claim steps up, was second from post 10. Thought that horse figured pretty nicely in that race. Let's go to race number 8 this afternoon. A 1 mile allowance optional claimer 3 and up. The optional tag is $25,000. I'll mention you have this horse fourth. I'm glad you got it somewhere in your ticket. Everyone loves James. That is the top pick in here for me. Going back to the main track, turning back to the mile with the speed needed to use the inside post to his advantage. for Jennifer Young, Leonel Reyes. I'm really curious to see with this rain we're having now how the track is going to play out this afternoon. Traditionally at Gulfstream, we had rain and the track is steel. Speed is always good.
Yeah, and I think, you look at the baby races, that's kind of good. You're not getting the mud in your face, but even with these experienced horses, you'll see it all the time. If you can break sharply, you kind of have an advantage on the field. And you mentioned this one has some dirt experience under his belt. I mean, obviously, most recently has been on the turf, but the last time he tried the dirt, it was a while ago, but it was over the good going at Belmont. Just second best on that occasion, had the early foot and just held on for second by, beaten by 4 lengths. But he's a good price in here for sure.
Well, the number 5 you have, Rebeldi, is certainly a candidate for a rebound performance after following that open-leg victory against those 25 condition claimers. Stalked the pace second against 30 allowance runners. Terry's got this horse in good form for Miguel Vasquez, third start off the bench.
The horse is in good form, but the barn's doing really well as well. 23%. They've been finding themselves in the winner's circle. All the wins have come over the dirt, and they've been here at Gulfstream Park, which I think is a huge advantage. Now, does have 1 win over the off-going, but you kind of have to go pretty far back. So I think that's going to be interesting, too, because these dirt horses, they've been facing sunny skies here most of the time in a fast track, so it's going to switch things up.
Yeah, we were talking before we went on the air. We can't remember the last time we had a card, with all the races taken off the turf, maybe 1 race taken off. So, it's summer in South Florida. With that said, the 9th race is a mile on the main track now. Is originally scheduled for the turf. I think that this is a wide open race, and you can see by our selections in there. I went with Sid Stay in Your Lane, who's dropping to the 16 level, stretching out. Just a pace play for me. I think this one could be, on the engine going a mile.
I'll be honest, when this race was on the turf, I didn't have this horse. I know you like this horse in the turf race as well. But again, it's a speed play. I think those first 2 races in the career back in late April and mid-May just had some problems at the break. When we saw the sharper break last time out, it resulted in kind of a little bit closer to the pace, a better buyer number. And that was actually, I know the horse was 3rd before that, but then was 4th. But that was coming from a $16,000 maiden claiming level, jumping up to 35, which you have to think a little tougher. So I thought last time out was a pretty good performance.
Well, you did go with the number 5 horse in here, R10 Angels, on top of your ticket. And MSC El Jaramillo certainly adds to the appeal.
Adds to the appeal. This is my top pick on the turf. I had to stick with my guns here. I know this horse has tried the dirt in the past, but it was in Kentucky against tougher competition than today. As you see that debut, $150,000 maiden claimers and then $30,000, but showed speed on the dirt, going a mile and a 16th at Churchill. Not a good performance, but I think the recent form has been really great at the $16,000 level on the turf. Has had early foot. Not that this one's necessarily speedy, but I'm hoping this one can be forwardly placed today in here.
Well, that's how we see the 9-race card. We've got rain indoors. We've got a little bit of rain outdoors. And we're going to go quickly to our lightning round in here. And as we do each and every Friday, we just update you on the jock and trainer standings. The jock standings certainly interesting every week. Edgar, they were getting close, but he pulled away. He's got those 64 victories over MSC El Jaramillo and Edward Gonzalez riding really well.
It'll be interesting to see today because I think they all kind of have equal chances on the card in terms of wins. They both have a lot of live mounts, I should say. The top 3 really do. And then even Miguel Vasquez, I know he's got 48. He's still 10 behind Edwin, but he's been riding really well this meet so far.
Well, the big news for tomorrow, besides having a really nice card, is we got a mandatory payout. No, we got the trainer stands. Yeah, I always forget these because Safi's so far in advance. Has it changed at all?
I don't really. I think the underneath has. I don't think Safi has. I was going to ask you, is it still Safi? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be this way for a while. But I know Mark Cassie's been in 2nd. I know the race has kind of been for 3rd.
Yeah, Juan Carlos Avila. I made a lot of nice bets with him. Carlos David, of course, always right there. So that tomorrow, now, mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. I'll be putting a ticket together a little later on. It'll be on YouTube. Mandatory payout each and every Saturday we have this. You can guess how many millions will be in it. It's going to be up there.
Yeah, we have a $650,000 guarantee today, and then tomorrow, I mean, it's a good card. I don't know what the weather's going to do to it so far. Obviously, it's raining right now, but there's some really nice races on the program.
We're going to talk more about it, but we got a special week of racing next week. We'll be running Wednesday, Thursday, not Friday, and back on Saturday and Sunday for July 3rd and July 4th. But on Friday, you got to come to Gulfstream Park because we have Ambrosia here. 2 shows, 6:30 to 9:30. I was listening to their songs. Yeah, I had no idea they sang the songs that they did.
You mentioned no racing, but a different sort of entertainment if you're in the area and want to come out. That's, as you mentioned, on Friday, July 2nd. I think it's going to be a huge weekend. It is the 4th of July weekend, but as you mentioned, got a concert as well as some great stakes races.
Yep, it's going to be a great weekend, of course. So we'll talk more about that as the week progresses. We can try and get out of. It's the only place where we have to get out of inside to get out of the rain. So we'll be back here throughout the afternoon. Good luck, everybody.